Headlines most affecting Abbotsford this week. A convicted sex offender has been released into the community with restrictions. An Abbotsford man now charged in a 2022 murder in Surrey. A fatally ill Matsqui inmate will be released on compassionate grounds. And Abbotsford's Chase Claypool having a rough go with it with the Chicago Bears. Peter Lang will have more in sports. Our guest this week includes the Mission Mayor, Paul Horn. All right, Abbotsford, let's get started. An Abbotsford man is one of three charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder back in 2022 in a Surrey homicide of 24-year-old Pawandeep Chopra of Surrey. Now, two Ontario men, as well as 25-year-old Terry McDonald of Abbotsford, have been charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. IHIT says now they cannot comment on this case as it's now going through the court system. Abbotsford Police issuing a notification in the interest of public safety. Hugh Alexander McCurry was released from Powell River on September the 29th on a release order. He'll be living in the Abbotsford area and be at a halfway house. McCurry has a criminal history that includes past convictions for sexual offenses against children in 2001, 04, 07, and 2016. He is under a number of restrictions, including no contact with anyone under the age of 16. Number of videos are now on social media from the September 27th meeting of the Abbotsford School Board. A large group of anti-Sochi protesters gathered outside of the district office. However, some of them made it inside to the meeting room and were seen yelling at the trustees. There's another video showing Abbotsford Police escorting trustees out of that building through the crowd and to safety. The board meeting at the time was postponed. In recent weeks, Abbotsford has been hit hard with anti-Sochi and anti-LGBTQ protests, primarily focused on the school district, City Hall, as well as the newspaper, the Abbotsford News. The Abbotsford School Superintendent has been very vocal in supporting Sochi 123 and LGBTQ students, employees, and families. A terminally ill federal prisoner who has been fighting for a compassionate release to die outside of jail has been granted day parole. Ed Speidel, a 62-year-old prisoner, has a terminal lung disease. He will be permitted to enter a secure home with round-the-clock medical assistance. He had been an inmate at Matsqui, serving a number of terms for robbery. Speidel suffers from end-stage chronic obstructive pulmonary disorders, COPD, along with rheumatoid arthritis, and medical tests showing his lungs only have 19% function. In July of 2022, Speidel, who has served a total of 41 years in prison, requested parole by exception, also known as compassionate grounds, at a hearing. At the time, that request was rejected. It is the annual tradition that sadly has to happen every year just to get the message across. October will be the 12th annual Purple Lights Nights campaign, is to expose domestic violence and show that it has no place in the community. There are a number of events and vigils this month. A quick Google search of Purple Lights in your community will give you all the details. Many social services as well as police will have purple lights that you can buy and put in your window. On September the 1st, BC Highway Patrol was supposed to stop attending accident crash sites and just key on infractions. In a letter shared with various Fraser Valley councils and the FERD, Mission's Mayor Paul Horn gave this week a copy of the letter outlining concerns for the BC Highway Patrol for stepping back from accidents. At a recent Mission Council meeting, Horn said, "We really owe a debt of gratitude to Chilliwack's Mayor Ken Popoff and to Councillors Jason Lum and Bud Mercer for speaking about this." We sat down with the mayor to talk about this issue. That interview is coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. Masks are back. The province and public health officials encouraging you and I, anyone over the age of 6 months or older, to get a COVID-19 vaccine and put the mask back on. As respiratory infections are increasing in communities, the risk also increases inside healthcare facilities, where people may be more at risk of severe infection and complication. To increase protection in healthcare facilities right across the province, medical mask wearing is going to be required by all healthcare workers, volunteers, contractors, and visitors in patient care. After more than 3 years of reduced ridership because of COVID, BC Transit claims that they have seen a steady increase, is now experiencing a province-wide return to what they're calling pre-pandemic ridership. According to BC Transit, some BC systems like Central Fraser Valley, which is basically Abbotsford Mission, and Chilliwack have seen ridership come back stronger than ever, more than 120% of pre-pandemic numbers. But what the report did not mention was the recent effect of the 4-month bus driver strike that was earlier this year. Coming up, our conversation with the Mission Mayor, Paul Horn, and Peter Lang, and what's up with Chase Claypool. This week continues with the Mayor of Mission, Paul Horn, who we've been trying to get you on the show for quite some time. There's a couple of things we want to touch base on. The big one is something that happened a few weeks ago, and this concerns everybody within the Fraser Valley, and that was BC Highway Patrol. And are they or are they not going to respond to accidents? And I'm a little bit confused here. I thought BC Highway Patrol's mission statement, not only enforcing rules, but part of what they were supposed to do, whether it was in Mission and Abbotsford and Chilliwack, Highway 1, Highway 7, if there's an accident, they respond to it. Do they or don't they? So you address this.
Well, thank you, Don, for having me on, because it is an issue that needs a little bit more light of day, and it affects every Fraser Valley and Metro Vancouver community with a numbered provincial highway running through it. For us here in the Fraser Valley, it predominantly affects those communities affected by Highway 1. So Mission actually is less affected than Hope, Chilliwack, and Abbotsford. But as the chair of our mayor's table, I've been asked to sort of run with the ball here, and I've had the help of the mayors of other communities. But you're right, it's perplexing. Late in May, we heard from the BC Highway Patrol that they were making this decision to what they called move towards proactive policing, which in their mind meant that they wouldn't attend to accidents, fatalities, erratic drivers, and similar calls on numbered highways, and those responsibilities would fall to local municipal departments, both those served by the RCMP and those served by private forces such as in Abbotsford. And that was a huge concern for us. The rationale was that in their interpretation of the Police Act, that was something that should have been there already, that it had existed for 12 years. Our perspective was that there was a reason why something had happened 12 years ago, and it deserved to be understood. And that the idea of proactive policing needed to include responding to erratic drivers, helping to properly investigate and clear off fatalities and major accidents on these highways. And we were deeply concerned, especially in some of the smaller communities. You can imagine just how many kilometers of highway go through Hope. Yeah. And having potentially on a holiday weekend their entire municipal force removed from the city proper or the district proper and being on highways to attend to things that have traditionally been the Highway Patrol's office. So very, very perplexing to us, and through a lot of collective advocacy, I think we're going down the right path, but still lots left to be determined in that one.
And you were mentioning Abbotsford Mayor Ross Siemens, Chilliwack Mayor Ken Popoff, FVRD Chair Jason Lum, who is a Chilliwack councillor. They're all on the same page as you. So where are we? Are they still going to attend accident scenes for the time being? Because I understand Burnaby has got a major issue with this as well.
Right, exactly. I think pretty much North Vancouver, I would say as well. So we advocated through the mayor's table, Mayor Popoff, Mayor Smith, Mayor Wood, all of the Fraser Valley mayors wrote letters, and I think probably there were a few from the Metro side of 287th as well. We asked three things. The first is that they delay the implementation. They really didn't give us 6 months of consultation, which was what we were entitled to. The second is that we clearly define, we were told by the Chief Superintendent, Holly Turton, don't worry, we'll still come. But literally, if that sounds vague to you, that's how vague it sounded to us. We really wanted to know in a more defined way what was considered to be a call where we might ask for some mutual aid. And third, we simply wanted to have whatever rollout process we undertake be examined in a year and see whether or not, or at some other predetermined time, what it was that was working and what needed to be adjusted. Because this was a rather sudden move, and one that didn't account for growth and budgeting pressures at the local communities. Thanks very much to the folks that you mentioned, as well as Chilliwack Councillor Bud Mercer, there was an opportunity to meet with Provincial Minister of Public Safety and Solicitor General Mike Farnworth in Chilliwack, and that seemed to have been a big difference maker in terms of getting the message across. So we received a letter saying that the delay was going to be implemented, so it did not begin September 1st, but we have not heard who are the communities and what's the process going to be. So I met last week at UBCM with E-Division leadership. We didn't have a chance to meet with the public safety minister because he got called away at the last minute. We'll meet with him next week. But wanting to really advocate, not so much for Mission to be at the table, but for communities such as Abbotsford, Chilliwack, and hope to be there. And then, as you said, a couple of metro communities to really truly understand the scope of the issue. I have much more faith that that will happen now, but again, the jury's still out. It's we don't have clear answers on when things will be implemented and how they'll be implemented.
There's also, and I'm hearing confusion too, and I got to admit, I'm a little confused as well with, you got BC Highway Patrol, but then you have these other marked vehicles that are safety enforcement for truckers. Is there an overlap in their jurisdiction, or is it BC Highway Patrol takes care of the cars and these other guys take care of truckers?
My understanding is that there's 4 different sort of levels of enforcement. There's this commercial vehicle safety enforcement, CVSC, that's the ones you're referring to, Don, as well as URSU, which is the Integrated Road Safety Unit. That's a unit that's funded through ICBC. Those will continue, as we understand, doing what they do. And CVSC are the ones we see out there, truck safety. And then, of course, municipalities have always done some of the enforcement on highways and on their local roads. That's not going to disappear. It's the highway patrol component that we're specifically focused on.
Okay. We're running out of time, but you have an open invitation to come on board both abbyTV and Chill TV anytime. Mission Mayor Paul Horn, but big thank you again.
Thank you so much, Don. Anytime.
Great stuff. And you're watching This Week.
This week in Abbotsford sports. Over the weekend, a spokesperson for the NFL Chicago Bears said that wide receiver Chase Claypool was told not to attend Sunday's game against the Denver Broncos after being designated a healthy scratch. Claypool is a product of the Abbotsford High School football program. The Bears' messaging contradicts what coach Matt Eberflus said following the Chicago's 31-28 loss when he confirmed that Claypool was not with the team at Soldier Field. We told him that it was his choice, and he's at home right now, Eberflus said. Sunday marked the 3rd time Claypool was inactive since he was traded to the Bears in November of 2022 from Pittsburgh, but the first time he missed a game for non-injury reasons. TSN is speculating that Claypool could be released. The BC Lions retain his CFL rights according to Third Down Nation. What was supposed to be a tight game for the Battle of Third in the BC Football Conference was a runaway win for the Valley Huskers. They beat the Langley Rams 26-9 at McLeod Athletic Park. The Huskers are 6-2, and the Rams dropped to 4th with a 5-3 record. This Saturday, the Rams head to the island to play the undefeated West Shore Rebels in Victoria. The Columbia Bible College Bearcats have released their October and November home schedule for basketball and volleyball. Men's and women's basketball starts this weekend against Camosun College. Volleyball starts against Douglas College on October 20 and 21. Eli Green posted a team best 200 par in the event to help lead the UFV Cascades men's golf team to capture a 3rd place finish in the Western Washington University Men's Invitational. This week, the golfers hosted the Canada West Golf Championships at Ledgeview Golf Club in Abbotsford. The British Columbia Hockey Conference announced details of its 2nd annual Prospects Game, which will be hosted by the Kamloops Storm on Tuesday, November 28th at MacArthur Park Arena. The 2023 BCHC Prospects Game will see the top young players from the Kootenay International Junior Hockey League and Pacific Junior Hockey League face off in front of scouts from the Western Hockey League and a number of post-secondary hockey programs. This includes the Abbotsford Pilots, Chilliwack Jets, and Mission City Outlaws. And after the break, Cari with the weather.
abbyTV long weekend weather. So Cari, will Thanksgiving be a rain out?
Thanks, Don. Yes, it looks like we are going to have great weather through the weekend. 23 and 25 on Saturday. I'm going to be in my pool. And look at that. It's going to get kind of yucky again next week, back down to 17, 16 with some rain and clouds. But it might perk up again by the end of the week. So yes, it's going to be a great weekend to maybe cook a turkey. Speaking of turkeys, did you know that wild turkeys actually sleep in trees at night? Who knew? Which means they can fly. And yes, I looked it up. Fun fact, they can fly up to 90 kilometers an hour. Short bursts, not very far, but they can do it. Which answers that age-old question, who can move faster, a turkey or Don? Obviously a turkey. Sorry, Don. Hope you have a great birthday. Enjoy your turkey, everyone. Have a great week.
Thanks, Cari, and thank you for watching. If you have a local news story you'd like us to report on, you can always send us a note to news@chilltv.ca. Thanks for watching. Have a great long weekend. More gravy, please, on that turkey. I'm Don Lehn.